Hello YouTube, hola familia. Today I wanted to make a video about the first signs or traits that we saw in Logan that led us to get him evaluated for autism, since he is now officially diagnosed with autism. He is autistic, and I mean, when I didn't know that he was, I didn't know what to look for, so maybe this can help someone. If you're new to my channel, my name is Maria. I have two kids. I have Logan and Olivia, or Gigi, how we'll call her. And Logan has a very complicated medical history, so it's kind of why I started making these YouTube videos. Also, I am from Spain. Michael is from the United States. We live currently in the United States. We live in Utah, and that kind of makes a mesh of cultures in our family. It's also, I think, something interesting to see. Like, I never thought it was gonna be as hard as it is, but also it's kind of like balancing it out. It's fun to see, I think. But yeah, if you're new to my channel, just subscribe and like, and watch out for more videos coming. So just going straight into it. I have my notebook here because there's so many things that kind of happen together. So I'm gonna start by saying, if you didn't know, when Logan was 1.5 years old, he was diagnosed with a rare cancer called LCH, but he was also born with NF1. Because my husband has it, is something that we know that our kids have a 50-50% chance of having it, and Logan has it. Gigi hasn't shown any signs of NF1. LCH is a completely different story. It's just rare, and it's very rare to find a child that has LCH. There's not much information about it out there either, so it's kind of complicated. But anyway, he was diagnosed with that at 1.5 years old. So by the time he started showing signs of autism, I didn't catch it right away. He was doing chemotherapy, so some of that chemotherapy medication, and I mean, a kid that is so young, that has to go through so many medical procedures and surgeries and evaluations and stuff like that, I mean, it changes. As an adult, I can only imagine that it changes you, and as a kid, it has to have an effect like that, right? The first thing that we saw, he likes cars. He likes playing with cars, and through his chemotherapy appointments, he will always get, a little toy after every chemotherapy appointment, a little car. So he started collecting them, and he would line them up perfectly. His way of playing was putting one card right next to the other one, and it was pretty much a perfect line, which I thought, oh, he's just playing. I didn't thought much of it. When I started to notice more is when he actually started dividing the cards by color. He will put all the blue ones together, lined up, all the yellow ones, all the red ones, perfectly by color. I didn't know that he could, do that. I guess didn't thought much of it either until I tried pushing one of those cards kind of out of the line, and he couldn't have it. He got very upset with me, and he ran back, put it back in place, put the card back in place. I thought, okay, it's the medication that he's taking, his chemotherapy medication. One of the side effects, it's to be more upset than normal, to be more irritable. It just makes you angry. So I just thought, okay, this is, the medication side effects. He had other side effects, so this one is probably it too. Let me see, what else? In big settings, when there was a lot of people, I mean, with COVID and stuff, we didn't really gather too much with family, only for certain birthdays or stuff like that. and it wasn't like a ton of people, but when it was more than just, you know, my family, my husband and my kids, Logan will start covering his ears. Or if there was like very, very loud noises, he will like start covering and like flapping on his ears. So I will ask him like if it was too loud or if he was okay. And in some of those occasions, if we were here at home, he would come to my room, and we had an iPad before it broke. But we had an iPad, and he would like watch his iPad, whatever videos he wanted to watch. But he by himself came in here and closed the door, so that when I came to check on him, he was more calm and more happy. So I think that the noise, or the, you know, all the noises around was too much for him. I also noticed that he is very friendly with all the kids, but he won't play specifically with them. He will play around them, and he likes to go on his own and play on his own, rather than joining and playing with other kids. That was, well, back then at the beginning. Now I know that in school he plays. He has a best friend in school, and they play together, which makes me really happy. But back then, that was a big one for me. I was very worried that, oh, is he feeling left out? Is he maybe not understanding? He was also behind in speech, which also, I mean, it could have been from all the like the surgeries and the procedures. It is normal for a kid to just kind of go back a little bit on the steps that he's supposed to be taking forward, like speech and behavior. So I didn't think much of it either, as well as he was doing early intervention for his speech. So we were working on it. That's all I thought. I thought that, you know, cancer and the treatments were the cause of most of these behaviors. The other one that I saw that was big, and it kind of shifted my mind into, okay, this is more than just the treatments. I will try to insert pictures of all that I'm saying. I don't have pictures of my kids crying like that. I don't have videos of him bursting out when he has a moment. If I have any of them, it's only to show for doctors. I just don't feel comfortable showing that part of my kids being so vulnerable, and I don't want them to later see it out there and to be like, hey mom, why did you post this? I have a picture, but we went to the park. It was cold. We still bundled everybody up well, but it was still very cold, so we only stayed for like about 15 minutes. And there was a ton of kids too, so he was a little off right from the beginning. But yeah, we told him that we had to go, and he got very upset. We got in the car, we were driving back home, and Logan started screaming, like, not like a whining, I'm upset, but like screaming that I thought, like, I don't know, he was screaming so loud that it made us very, very scared. He started like wrestling with the seatbelt and moving around and getting very upset. Like, we've never seen him this upset before. So we had to stop on the side of the street, and when I got him out, he was desperate for he had a sweater and like another long sleeve shirt and a short sleeve underneath. Like, he had not his jacket, but rather 3 layers of clothes, because it was very cold that day. And he started like pulling up his clothes. So I still asked him. I know that he couldn't give me an answer yet, but just I asked him if it was bothering him, and he started pulling up his clothes. So I just took 2 layers off. I let him only on the t-shirt, and he started calming down. Like, he was screaming so bad. Like, I'd never seen him scream that bad. Not even in chemotherapy appointments that he's had a hard time. This was another thing. From this occurrence, there was a chemotherapy appointment within like 2 weeks after that, and I went with him. I remember in the hospital, because it's a hospital for kids, and specifically the chemotherapy or the cancer area, they have social workers, and they have therapists and psychologists there to help the kids. And I was talking with the therapist, and I told him about this behavior and how it really scared us, because I thought he was gonna pass out. He was gonna stop breathing and pass out. And he told me to tell him more about if I have seen any other behaviors that were like that. And I told him about the lining, well, that my husband brought up to my attention because I thought that he was just playing. I told him about this playing by himself, and he was the first one that told me that it might not be just because of the side effects of the medication, but rather that there might be something else there. Which, when your kid already has LCH, like it has a rare cancer, it's going through chemotherapy, and it has NF1 to worry about too, thinking about there's something else too, it's like draining. But anyway, I got his referral, and he got his first evaluation. It's a bunch of filling out forms, they need to get a bunch of background to know the kid better. But all of this was done during the pandemic, so appointments couldn't be in person. They didn't get, at least in my opinion, I don't think they got in the first appointment the full spectrum of Logan's behavior. We met with a psychologist, with a speech therapist, an occupational therapist, and a nurse too. All of this online through Zoom and other platforms like that. And we got this done, I want to say it was between the months of summer of 2021. And the psychologist decided that there was so much going on in Logan's life, especially with the treatments, that she didn't want to misdiagnose and say, hey, he has autism. And also because Logan is social, like he will look at you, he will social with other kids, he will like not necessarily play with them when they're like taking turns and stuff. We're just practicing that now. I'm trying to teach him to take turns and stuff like that, but he won't necessarily do that, but he will go and try to play with the kids in a different way. He doesn't avoid being around other people unless he's very overwhelmed, I guess. I mean, he can really tell me. So this is a lot of the things that I'm doing right now are guessing, and I hope I'm doing it right. But the last evaluation we did was with the speech therapist, and she did see Logan's behavior in full force, in full spectrum. She saw a meltdown too. She saw that day Logan was full on Logan, because the day that the psychologist saw him through the camera, it was like it was another Logan. He was so calm, so quiet, that honestly, I don't know, we've never had a day like that ever again, which is fine. I mean, I love my kids, and I love how energetic he is. One thing is, I will never be bored with my kids. But yeah, after the speech therapist saw all of that, she was like, okay, we need to evaluate this in 6 months. Like, it needs to be done again. So she set it up for us to see the psychologist again in 6 months from then. We saw her again in January. So a couple months ago, January 2022. We saw her again, and there was other behaviors and other things that Logan had developed in those 6 months. He likes water a lot. I think it's more than liking, it's like a fixation. He likes to wash his hands. He will like put soap and wash them off over and over, which, I mean, it doesn't hurt anybody, so I am not really stopping that behavior just yet. He likes to play with the water. Like, he loves baths, but I will like set up the sink in the kitchen for him to play in there, and he's just so happy doing that. Like, he really likes playing with water, as well as jumping in the puddles. Loves it. Food wise, he doesn't really eat that much stuff. There's about 5 foods that he will have. And to be honest, like when he was 6 months old, and I have done the same with Gigi, I have done baby-led weaning method. So they have tried everything. By the time that he was 1 year old, he was eating pretty much the same that I was eating. And he always loved to eat and try different stuff. He will try sauces and stuff that I didn't even like. But yeah, from eating every vegetable and fruit to not eating pretty much anything. Milk is the only constant that he has and that he still likes. Spinning. He started spinning, which I also didn't see odd, because my daughter does the same right now, and because growing up my parents will always tell me that when they ask me to dance, I will start spinning, right? It happens the same with my daughter. When I tell her, oh, let's dance, she starts spinning. Logan does the same, but he also does it at random times. He started spinning and like looking up, with them bends up here. If they're moving, he will sit underneath them and look up and just stare at them for a while. So those are the other behaviors that he had developed from like the first evaluation to the second one. This time, this second evaluation was a little bit longer, and my daughter was included in it because in the first one she was still very little. She was crawling, I think. She wasn't walking. Now she's walking and running. But yeah, she got to see Logan. She got to see, I think it was one meltdown that well, not full meltdown, but like he got very upset. I can't remember about what. And as soon as we finished, she was like, okay, it is time to diagnose, because he does have a lot of the signs. One of the main ones, or like what she explained to me, one of the main ones is that autistic people don't like to socialize, or that they have a very hard time like looking. But not every autistic person has that trait, which my son doesn't. That's why on the first evaluation, he was staring at the camera. But one thing is like looking at you, and another is looking past you, which was what he was doing. So sometimes it might seem like he's looking at you, but he's not. He's just looking past you. He's focusing on something else. So it was a very long journey, and I just want to kind of to like put out those traits and see if maybe some parents are a little bit concerned about their kids, if their kids have some of the same behaviors that Logan had. Like I said, not every kid has those behaviors. What I would say is that if you have the concern, push to get an evaluation done. If it's not autism, it's not, and one thing that you don't have to worry about. But if it is very important to get them the resources that they need as early as they can. I think now they can diagnose as early as it 18 months? I might be wrong. It used to be around 3 years old, but now it's earlier than that. And like I said, if I had waited, I probably would have not gotten the resources until like fall of this year, because they were supposed to do an evaluation within like from 1 year to another. So we would have done the evaluation in summer and not in January when we did it. But yeah, I'm still learning a lot of this stuff. So if I said something that was wrong, I am very sorry. Like I said, I'm learning. There's a lot of things that I don't know. It's all brand new for me, so I am trying to just get as much knowledge as I can, because I think knowledge is power, and with that knowledge and those resources help my son, and hopefully bring some awareness to other people about the autistic community. And that's my daughter. Yep, she just woke up from her nap. Well, I'm just gonna finish here, and I made another video about a day in the life, because I am a stay-at-home mom and I pretty much am alone the full day. Not fun. But I included some activities that we do with Logan that are sensory activities that help him out with his sensory needs and his speech. So I don't know if that one is gonna be going up in this channel before this one. I'm still but I'm not, just look up for it. It's a day in the life of a stay-at-home mom, plus some tips and some ideas on sensory play and speech play, because that's what we do here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep on the watch out for more videos. I gotta go take care of my daughter. Bye.